What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. As I said, yesterday we recorded the Firing Squad podcast. That should be up soon. The episode we recorded Monday, that should be going up probably this week or this weekend or early next week. And then our mock draft should be coming up by hopefully at least the end of next week. So a little announcement from the other show that I'm doing. But for Talkin Sports with Jake, today, doing one of those shorter ones. Today we are focusing on UConn men's basketball and their incredible 2-year run. They are on back-to-back champions. Been absolutely dominant. Very hard to do in today's age in college basketball and just college sports in general with NIL and the transfer portal and all that. So let's take a look at truly how remarkable this team has been. So 2022-2023 season. So this is last year. They, going into the tournament, they were the ranked 14th in the country, 4th in the Big East. They lost to Marquette in the semifinals of the Big East tournament. Big East, which last few years has really come back alive and has been very, very good. 2 years ago, the year before this year, was really, really good. UConn won the whole year, including the tournament, won 31 basketball games. And they were only the 4th best team in that conference. You had Marquette, you had a lot of our teams in there that were good. So, 4th in the Big East, 14th in the country. They lose to Marquette in the semifinals. So you're like, all right, they're a good team. Probably aren't doing anything super crazy, but they can maybe get to a Sweet 16, maybe an Elite 8. First round, they get matched up against Iona, the 13th seed. Of course, coached by Rick Pitino, who, won a national championship in 1996 with Kentucky. Also won one in 2013 with Louisville. One of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time. Beat them by 24. Not even close. Blew them out of the water. Then, in the second round, they played St. Mary's, who was really good. They were a 5 seed. Beat them by 15. Then he, in the Sweet 16, played Arkansas, who came from a big upset in the Sweet 16, of course, coached by Eric Musman, really tough coach. Beat him by 23. So Arkansas in the Sweet 16 beat him by 23. Blew him out. In the Elite 8, he played Gonzaga, who was a 3 seed in the tournament and the 9th best team in the country. A lot of people thought could be a sleeper to win the whole thing. Every year, they were like the top team in the country. It was always pressure, and they always came up short. I think 2 years prior, they were in the national championship, lost to Baylor. But when they were the top team in the tournament, they were the top team in the tournament, I think, again the year before this year, so this was, I think, 3 years ago. And I think they lost in the second round of Sweet 16. This year, they were a 3 seed, right? 9 in the country. Like, all right, maybe there's not much pressure. Maybe they could do it. They got to the Elite 8. UConn beat them by 28 points. Gonzaga is a top 9 team in the country. They were one of the 9 best teams in the country. And UConn beat them by almost 30 points. By 28. A team that was in the national championship 2 years prior. For years has been a powerhouse in college basketball. Was top 9 team in the country. Beat them by 30. Blew them out. A team that is as talented offensively as any team is. It has been for years. Beat them by 28. In the Final Four, they get Miami, who was a 5 seed or ranked 16th in the country that year, were a 5 seed in the tournament. Beat them by 13. Without much trouble. Also a team that was red hot. Not much of an issue. Then they won the national championship. They played San Diego State, who was also a 5 seed. Remember, last year the tournament was crazy with the upsets. I think the highest seed was UConn, who was a 4. San Diego State, who was a 5 seed in the tournament and the 18th best team in the country heading into the tournament. Beat them by 17. Not even close. Absolutely dominant. They won every game by at least 13 points. And 2 by over 20. Absolutely dominant. As a 4 seed. This is not a team that was like the 1 seed and was the best team in the tournament, had 5 losses all year. This team, they were like 31-8. They were a very good team. But they weren't great. Yeah, I think they came into the tournament ranked like 10th, maybe, in the country. They were a 4 of a tournament, so they were very good. They were a pretty decently safe bet to beat them in Sweet 16. But they weren't one of the even, you could argue they weren't even one of the 10 best teams in the country. They were probably like a 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 best team in the country. Dominated. Won every game by at least 13, won 3 of them by at least 23. Absolutely dominated. Then this year, they came in ranked 6th. Remember, this is a team that won the national championship and didn't lose a single game in the tournament. No, excuse me. They didn't. Every single game in the tournament they won last year, they won by at least 13. 3 of them they won by at least 23. And they came in ranked 6th. They weren't even ranked. Not only were they not ranked first, they weren't even ranked in the top 5. Yes, they lose Jordan Hawkins to the NBA. He was I think a lottery pick by the New Orleans Pelicans. Yes, they lose Adamo Sanaga, who's a good player. I think he was a second rounder or an undrafted guy. Yes. Obviously, Donovan Klingman, we didn't really know about him too much. He had this kid, Tristan Newton, who is still, only in his second year there. How these guys are going to step up. You didn't know what was going to happen. They lost in the regular season 3 times. 3. They lost to Kansas, who at the time was ranked 5th in the country, to Seton Hall, who yes didn't make the tournament, and they were unranked, but probably should have gotten into the tournament, so it was probably one of the 68 best, probably one of at least the 65 best teams in the country overall. I'm not sure where they were ranked at the time. And then Creighton, who at the time was the 15th best team in the country. Of the only 7 teams that they beat kept it within under 10 points. So there were 10 times. So UConn played 40 games this year. 30 of them they won by at least 10. The only 10 instances where they did not were the 3 losses they had. They lost to Kansas, who was a top 5 team at the time. Seton Hall. Remember, these Big East matchups can go either way. Every team is really well coached, and they're big and strong, and they're gritty. That's why they're always, it's why they always, sometimes go on these Cinderella runs in the tournament. So, UConn against Kentucky as 7, 8 seeds, like about 10 years ago. UConn won it all 2 years ago as a 4 seed. We've seen it happen. Marquette, of course, they were a 3 seed this year, something like that, or a 2 seed, but they had a great run to what the Sweet 16 in the year, the Elite 8. They had a great run. That's why they're able to do it. And then Creighton, who was at the time the 15th best team in the country. So in the Big East tourney, they pretty much ran the table. The first round, forgot who they played, blew them out. Second round, they had a close game against St. John's, who was red hot, of course, against Rick Pitino, one of the greatest coaches ever. In the Big East Championship against Marquette, who at the time was the 10th best team in the country. Beat him by 16 points. Basically blew him out. Wasn't even that close. A top 10 team in the country, the 3rd best team in the Big East, which is a very good conference. Well, wiped the floor with them. They lost 3 times in the regular season. And of their, 31 wins in the regular season, 24 of them they won by at least 10 points. 24 if they won by at least 10. That's crazy. Then, in the tournament, in the first round, they played Stetson, won by 39. Not a surprise there. UConn's the best team in the country. Stetson is awful. Not much of a surprise. In the second round, they played number 9 Northwestern. I forgot which one it was. Won by 17. Not even really that close. In the Sweet 16, they played San Diego State, who was in the national championship against UConn last year, was a 5 seed in the tournament and was like 24th in the country going in. So one of the 25 best teams in the country and a 5 seed in the tournament. They won by 30. They wiped the floor with them. It's one of the 25 best teams in the country and a 5th seed. We go to the Elite 8. They played Illinois, who's a 3 seed in the tournament and came into the tournament ranked 10th in the country. This is one of the 10 best teams in the country they played. They won by 25. They destroyed them. In the Elite 8, there is 8 teams left right now. One of the 10 best teams in the country, they were a 3 seed in the tournament. Won by 25. In the Final 4, they played Alabama, who was a 4 seed in the tournament, came into the tournament ranked 19th in the country. Won by 14. Not all that close. Alabama's got a great coach in Nate Oates. There's a reason he was a candidate for the Kentucky job until he said not leaving Alabama. The 20 best teams in the country. Remember, there's 350 Division I programs eligible for March Madness. And UConn is destroying like some of the 10, 20, 25 best teams by 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 points. Like, they're not just beating any team. They're beating some of the 25 best teams, 10 best teams in the country. I have 350 by 15, 20, 25 points. In the Final Four, they beat Alabama by 14. Then, in the national championship, they played Purdue, who came in the third best team in the entire country, was a 1 seed. A team featuring the best player each of the last 2 years in Zach Edey. Say what you want about him. Obviously, I've been negative about him. At the end of the day, in college basketball, he's the best player in the world of college basketball the last 2 years. Was probably the best defensive player as well in college basketball this year. Is 7'4", beat him by 15 points. By 15. Wasn't even that close. They went 37-3. In the last 2 years, they are undefeated in the NCAA tournament, obviously. The closest game they had was a 13-point game. That was in the Final Four against Miami last year. Miami, who was a top 16 team in the country. 5 seed in the tournament. Won by 13. That's the closest margin of victory they've had the last 2 years in the NCAA tournament. And this year, of their 31 regular season wins, 24 of them were by double digits. 24 of them. Remember, with the way college basketball works now, guys go to school for 1 year and they leave. They're going to go to the NBA. They're in school for a year. A lot of these guys are good enough to go in after the last year of high school because of the one and done rule. They go to college for a year. They get a bunch of NIL money. They try and get their draft pick up as high as possible, and they dip and they go to the NBA. Now with the transfer portal, if a guy goes somewhere and there wasn't absolutely perfect for them, they didn't go. The team didn't go as far as they thought. They didn't get as much playing time as they thought. They leave. They're gone. They're gone. And look, UConn, they don't play. This isn't North Carolina or Kansas or Duke. This isn't the Big 12 or the SEC or the Big 10. This is the Big East. Until about 3 years ago, the Big East was dead in the water. 10, 12 years ago, the conference broke, just fell apart basically. For years they absolutely sucked. Until a few years ago they finally come alive again. Until the last 3 years, the conference was dead in the water. No one thought about the Big East. And UConn is just dominating. So and you got I'm sure they've lost some players. Dan Hurley, of course, his last name being Hurley, because obviously Bobby Hurley, the oldest guy, of course, a legendary high school coach. But I think the other Bobby Hurley, he was at Arizona State. He's a very good college coach. Did a very good job. So and then Dan's coming off the national championship. He's proven that he's a good coach too. At this point, he's probably the best probably the best coach in the country now. If Coach K and Roy Williams retiring, I tell Bill Self at Kansas, and Tom Izzo, Michigan State, there isn't too many guys that really compare to him. But just absolutely dominant. This is unheard of in college sports to go back-to-back like this. Not only go back-to-back, but dominate. Won every tournament game by at least 13 points. This year in the regular season, won 24 of the 31 regular season games by at least 10 points. That's insane. The closest margin of victory in this year's tournament was 15. That was against Purdue, the third best team in the country, a one-team tournament in the national championship. No, excuse me. Actually, it was Alabama in the Final Four. They won by 14. Alabama, top 20 team in the country, a 4-seed in the tournament. Maybe the only team that they play that can match their offensive intensity. They won by 14. In the Final Four, no less. Absolutely dominant. What UConn men's basketball has done is incredible. Dan Hurley has built a monster there. Done a phenomenal job. Absolutely incredible what they've done. absolutely dominant the last 2 years, and I have no doubts that it'll continue. I mean, yes, they'll, I know, a couple of guys are gone. Klingon's gone. I'm not sure about Tristan Newton. Like this team, like they're incredible offensively. They can score at all three levels. They can shoot the three. They can score in the paint. They can shoot the mid range. They are incredible defensively in the paint on the perimeter. They shoot free throws. They're a phenomenal rebounding team. They move the ball. They're well coached by Dan Hurley. This team is incredible, and they absolutely run the table. 37 threes here, absolutely dominant, and they've won 12 straight tournament games. Right, 1, 2, 3. It's the first round, stuck around, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four. Natty. So yeah, they won 12 straight games in the tournament. That's all I got for you guys today. Shout out to UConn once again. Tomorrow, tune in for my mock draft. My final before the NFL draft, which is in 2 weeks from today. So until next time, so long. Have a great day.